welcome back to, hey, me, back to a video. You should have your test, your interim 1 test, and a data tracking sheet that I'll explain here in a little bit. And now you're ready to get started. So this is test grading and review. I'm going to go through the answers of that first test that you took. Alright, so by the end of this video, you'll know your test score as well as know which standards you still need to work on, and of course which standards that you did well on. Like I said, you're going to use this paper to track your data. So as you go through, so obviously for problem 1, that is a question about prime and composite. So as you see across there, if you got it correct, you're going to circle a yes, but if you didn't, then you circle no. And then you'll know under which standards or which topics you still need some more help, or you're ready to move on. Alright, question 1. Which of these is prime? Well, prime means that the only way to get that as an answer is 1 times that number, or that it only has 2 factors. And the correct answer there is A, because you have 1 and 14, 2 and 7. Here you have 1 and 15, and 3 and 5, and here you have 1 and 18, 2 and 9, and 3 and 6. But the only way to get 13 is 1 and 13, so it only has 2 factors. Okay, so don't forget to circle on your data tracking sheet. Yes, you got it correct, and no, you didn't get it correct. Alright, next one. Problem 2. There were some issues with the numbering, so just don't worry about that. So, which of the following are prime numbers? And here it says select 2 answers. So again, A, because 1 times 5. Not B, because you can also do 2 times 3. And not C, 1 times 8, 2 times 4. And not D, because you can do 1 times 9 and 3 times 3, and E, because the only way to get that is 1 and 11. Okay, don't forget to circle that on your data tracking sheet. Okay. Next one. Which of the following are composite numbers? Now, composite are those that have more than 2 factors. Okay, and you're going to select 3 answers. So we've got A, because we've got 1 times 10, and the other combination, 2 times 5. B, 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and of course 3 times 4. C is prime. Only way to get 17 is 1 times 17. D, we can do 1 times 21, and 3 times 7. So that makes it a composite. And E is prime because it's the only way to get 23 as an answer is 1 times 23. So the correct answers are A, B, and D. You have to get all 3 correct. So if you got all 3 correct, yes, you got it correct. If you got any less than that, then no, you got it wrong. Circle that on your data sheet. Okay. Problem 4. Find the greatest common factor of 8 and 12. Well, we use the cakewalk method, and we can divide both by 4 and get 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are in counting order, and so our greatest common factor is 4. So you're going to look And this is in a new column because it's greatest common factor and not prime and composite. So did you get that correct? Circle yes. If not, circle N. Problem 5. Greatest common factor again of 40 and 24. Again, using the cakewalk. We can divide both by, I'm looking at my answers here. I'm going to start with 8. Okay, 8 will go into 45 times, and 8 will go into 24 3 times. Okay, I have both prime numbers, so the greatest common factor here is 8. Don't forget to circle that in your data sheet under that last column. Okay, problem 6. Which of the following number pairs has a greatest common factor of 9? And you had to, again, select 3. So I know that I'm going to be working with 9. So I'm going to try, whoops, sorry. Always do that. Here we go. So I've got 45 and 72. So is 9 the only factor that will go into there? So 9 times 5 is 45, and 9 times 8 will give me 72. And 5 is prime, and it won't go into 8, so yes, it's A. How about 27 and 90? Again, I know that I'm going to be working with 9, so 3 times 9 is 27, and 9 times 10 is 90. 3 is a prime number and won't go into 10. So yes, 9 will be that one as well. C, I've got 18 and 36. Okay, so I know 9 will work, so 2 times 9 is 18, and 4 times 9 is 36. Oh, but 2 and 4 are both even numbers, so I can divide here by 2 and get 1 over and 2 there. And remember, I have to multiply, so the greatest common factor here is 18, not 9. And then, see if I can squeeze in 63 and 81. Put that over here. 63, 81. So 9 times 7 is 63, and 9 times 9, 7 is a prime number, will not go into 9, so correct answer here is D. Okay, so don't forget on your data sheet, go ahead and log that one. Okay, problem 7, multiply. Well, I'm going to look at these answers here, and when I multiply decimals, I need to count the decimal places in the end, and so I know I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. So already I know it's not answers A or B. So now I'm going to multiply it out, and we don't have to line up the decimals even though they look lined up. We're lining up the last digits. And now I'm going to multiply the 7 times 3, that's 21. And 7 times 4 is 28, plus 2 is 30. I have a 0 over here, so that'll give me that 3 there. I'm going to do a placeholder 0 because I'm going to move on to the 5, and 5 times 3 is 15. I'm going to carry this as a 1. And 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. And 5 times 0 is 0, plus the 2 is 2. So now I'm going to add 1 and 5, that's 4 and 2. And like I said, 2 decimal places here, 2 decimal places here, a total of 4 decimal places. 1, 2, 1, 2. So I start here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And does that match up? Yep. Answer choice C. So answer choice C for number 7. Again, this is a different standard because it's decimals. So check that out. Find number 7, circle yes or no. Did you get it correct or not? Alright, number 8. Calculate. Okay, division. So, got 8,128, and I'm dividing by 254. I know that 254 won't go into this 8 or 81, and 2 will go into 8 4 times, but with that 54, 254, I'm going to try 254 times 3. And that's 12. 15 plus 1 is 16. And 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 762, so that will work. Put a 3 up here, and I'm going to subtract 762. This is a 0. And I have to borrow and make 8 a 7, and then that makes that 1 11, so that's 50. That's 0. 50 is smaller than 254, so I can bring down my 8. 2 will go into 5 2 times, so let's try 254 times 2. That's 8. That's 10. And, yep, that works perfectly. So my answer here is 32. Okay, so check your answer, and again, this is a different standard because this is long division. Okay, yes, you got it correct. No, you did not. Problem 9. What is the value of, that just means, what is this answer equal to? So 12,642 minus 40, or excuse me, divided by 49. Well, 49 isn't going to go into 1 or 12. See, 49, 4 will go into 12 3 times. Let's see, 49 times 2 is 18. 8 plus 9. Probably I'm not going to get another 49 out of that, so I'll put a 2 up here and subtract 98. So notice that the 2 went above the 6 and that 8 went below it. So I'm lining those numbers up. It's very important when you are dividing. 6 minus 8 I can't do, so I have to borrow, and that becomes a 1, and the 6 becomes 16. 16 minus 8 is 8. And 1 minus 9 I can't do, so I have to borrow again. So now it's 11 minus 9, and that's 2. 28 is smaller than 49, so I can bring down my 4. And 4 will go into 28 about 7 times, so 4, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 49 times 6. That's going to be 54. That's 29. That's too much. And so I'll have to do 5 times. So 49 times 5. That's 45. And 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 4 is 24. So that'll work. Put my 5 up here. Remember, it went above the 4, and so my answer, 245, goes below the 4. And I'm going to subtract. 4 minus 5 I can't do, so I'm going to have to borrow. The 8 is going to become a 7. 14 minus 5 is 9, and 7 minus 4 is 3. That's 2, 0. 39 is smaller than 49, so now I can bring down this 2. Let's see, so 294, that was 6 times. 7 times 4 is 28. Okay, I'll try 7. 49 times 7, 63. 28 plus 6 is 34. Can probably do 49 times 8. That's 72. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 7 is 39. 392, that's what I want. So 258. 258. Check your work if you were close. Okay. Alright, don't forget to fill in your data sheet. And we're ready for problem 10. Division again. Okay. 279 and 5/10 divided by 2 and 6/10. Remember, we always have to start with a whole number to divide. So we're going to move the decimal here. So it's 26, and move the decimal here. And I'm going to take it right on up. Well, 26 won't go into 2, but it will go into 27 one time. And I subtract, I get 1. And 1 is smaller than 26, so I can bring down my 9. Now, 26 won't go into 19, so I have to put that placeholder 0. Okay? And you can go ahead and put zeros here and subtract and get 19 again. Then bring down your 5. 26 into 195. Well, 2 will go into 19 9 times. 9 times 2 is 18. But with the 6 there, I don't know, 26 times 8, that's 48. And 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 is 208. Okay, so probably 7 times, because 208 is too big for 195. So let's take it times 7. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 4 is 18. Yep, that'll work. So 7 here. And I subtract 182. 5 minus 2 is 3, and 9 minus 8 is 1. 13 is smaller than 26, so I already have a decimal here. So now I can put a 0 here and bring that down. Okay, and 26 into 130. So we'll try, I don't know, 5 times, since 8 was too big. We'll try 26 times 5. 5 times 6 is 30, and 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is, and that'll work. 5 goes over here, 130, underneath here. So the answer is 107 and 5/10. Again, did you put that 0 in? Did you annex a 0? Check your work. Circle yes or no. Problem 11. Okay, I know on your test, this is problem 11. On here it says 12. Just ignore that. This is problem 11. Alright, Joshua started the month with some money, and then he earned some money, and he spent some money, and I want to know how much he had at the end of the month. Alright, so he started with $20.50, and I'm probably going to be adding and subtracting decimals, so I'm going to line up all these decimals. Earned money. He earned $3.75 for washing the car. That means he added $3.75. So 5, 2, decimal straight down, 4. So now he has $24.25. Then he spent, that's subtraction, $5.25. So 0, 0, again, lining up our decimals. So he has $19. Then he mowed his neighbor's lawn. So it sounds like he's doing work, so he probably earned this amount. So we're going to add $7.50. Just showing my work here. $26.50. Finally, he bought a new video game, so now I'm going to subtract $18.75. And I have to do some borrowing. This is going to become a 4. 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 7, I have to borrow again. 14 minus 7. 5 minus 8, I need to borrow. 15 minus 8 is 7. And this is 0. So $7.75. Hey, look. Answer choice A. Alright, don't forget, fill in your data sheet. Check your work. Where did you go wrong if you missed it? If you didn't, good job. Alright, next problem. The rest of these are actually going to all be like numbered wrong, just so you know. But I have the correct number at the top here. So problem 12. I'm going to solve 16 times 3/8. When I multiply fractions, I have to start with a fraction times a fraction. So to make 16 a fraction, I put a 1 underneath it. And now I can simplify before I multiply. Divide here by 8, here by 8. That's 1. That's 2. 2 times 3 is 6 over 1. That's going to give me 6, which is the sneaky one right in here. Okay, again, check your work and fill in your data sheet. Problem 13. 5/18 times 8 over 12. So again, we need to start with a fraction times a fraction, which we have, and we can simplify. Looking at 8 and 18, they're both even numbers, so I can divide by 2. Get 4 here, divide by 2, and get 9. And I can't do anything with 5 and 12 looking diagonally there, but I've got this 4 and 12, and 4 will go into 12 3 times, so dividing both by 4, get 3. Now I have 5 is prime and 3 is prime, so I can't simplify, and 5 is not going to go into 9. So 5 times 1 is 5, and 9 times 3 is 27. The answer is D. Okay. Just so you know, these are probably, you will never see, I won't say never, but for 6th grade, we shouldn't end up with answers like these. They're all even numbers. Okay, you can always divide by 2. So always think of that. Can I divide by 2? And then remember, sneaky 3. I tell you that all the time in class, so check that out. Alright, problem 13. Did you circle yes or no? And we're moving on. Problem 14. What is the value? That again means you're going to divide. Find the answer. 336 divided by 32. 32 won't go into 3, but it will go into 33 one time. So I subtract. I put my 1 above the second 3 and that 2 underneath it. So notice they're all lined up right here. Okay, keep that in mind. I'm going to subtract and I get 1. 1 is smaller than 32. That's good. I bring down my 6. 32 will not go into 16, so I have to put a 0. Now, this is what many of you forgot. I can add a 0, but the first thing that I need to do is put a decimal. And that decimal also goes up into my quotient. Okay, and now I can put a 0. Bring that down. Now I have 160. So 32 times 5, because 3 times 5 is 15. And yep, that works perfectly. So my answer is 10.5. Okay. Don't forget to fill in your data sheet. Check your work. What did you do wrong? Are you just making minor errors like the decimal? Or did you forget the 0? Did you divide wrong? Did you subtract wrong? We're almost done. You're doing a great job. Here we go. Problem 15. Division. I told you, 6th grade, you're going to have lots of division. So we've got 1,224 divided by 45. 45 is not going to go into 1 or 12. So 45 into 122. I'm going to say 2 times. That's 10, 90. So that 90, the 0 goes underneath. Remember, keeping that all lined up. Okay? And 2 minus 0 is 2. This is 12 minus 9, that's 3. 32 is smaller than 45. So now I can bring down my 4. 4 will go into 32 8 times, but with that 5, I know I'm going to have some extras. So I'm going to say that's not what I wanted. 45 times 7, that's 35. That's 28, 30, 31. That will work. So 7 here. I subtract. Okay, and I have to borrow. 14 minus 5 is 9. And that's 0, and that's a 0. 9 is smaller than 45. Again, I can add a 0, but the first thing that I need to do is that decimal. Now I can add a 0 and bring it down. Okay, and 45 will go in to 90 twice. So the correct answer here is 27.2. Don't forget to fill in your data sheet. Okay, and problem 16. Find the quotient in simplest form. Alright, division. Well, I know when we divide, we really don't divide, we multiply. But we have to get a fraction divided by a fraction first. So I'm going to rock ma around the clock and slide. This is going to become 9 over 2 divided by 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 over 4. Now I keep change flip. So 9 over 2 times 4 over 5. Can simplify, divide here by 2, divide here by 2. That's all I can do. So 18 over 5. 18. This is an improper fraction, so I'm going to do this division. We'll work 3 times. So 3 is my whole number, and my fraction is 3/5. And 3 and 5 are both prime numbers. So my answer here is 3 and 3/5. Okay, and again, when you type that in, you needed to do 3 and then a space, then the 3, the fraction bar, and the 5. And if you needed help with that, you should have asked me. Problem 17. I've got this table here, and it says, what is the total amount of hours the 3 managers worked in an average week? And it says average hours. So I'm not finding the average, and it's not anything that we've worked on yet. So this test isn't about tricking you, it's about things that we've talked about in class. Okay, so total amount, that means I'm going to add, and it's decimal. So I'm going to line up all the decimals. So 125, and this is 28, lining up my decimal, 25 and a 0, and 30.5, and then I can add zeros here. 5 plus 0 plus 0 is 5, 2 plus 5 plus 0 is 7, 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 8. Decimal point. 4 plus 8 plus 0 is 12. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9. So 92875, that's answer choice D. Alright, and last problem. This is a tricky one. I know we hadn't worked on it a lot. But we're trying to find out how many half-cup servings are in a box of oatmeal. So I've got my box of oatmeal here, and it's got 6 3/4 cups of oatmeal in it. And I want to know how many half-cup servings. So as I pour into my bowl, I'm only going to have a half a cup. So how many of those? So what I'm really doing is I'm taking that box of oatmeal, the 6 3/4, and I'm dividing it by half-cup servings. So I want to know how many servings that is. So I'm going to get a fraction divided by a fraction first. So I have to rock Ma around the clock and slide. That's 24 plus 3 is 27 over 4 divided by 1/2. And then I'm going to keep, change, flip. So keep, change, flip. And now I'm going to simplify before I multiply. Divide both by 2. And I get 27 over 2. It's an improper fraction, so I'm going to divide. Go in once. Bring down my 7. That will go in 3 times. So 13 is my whole number, and my fraction is 1/2. Correct answer is D. So that's the last problem, so make sure you circle that on your data sheet, and you are done. You're going to turn in your data sheet, so make sure your name is on it, and just bring it to me, and we can talk about what you can do for the remainder of the time. Alright, we'll talk to you later. Go Hawks!